begin our October 16th Conejo Recreation and Park District Board of Directors regular meeting here at the Hillcrest Center. And first call after call to order is our flag salute. And I've asked one of our premier staff members, but first time here at a board meeting, Luis, to lead us in the flag salute. So if you would, please.
And flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now you're a veteran, so you can do it multiple times. All right, thank you. And for our inaugural responsibility for our, I guess, clerk of the board is your title during this session. Would you please call the roll for us?
Director Nick.
Yes.
Director.
Yes.
Director Hufford.
Aloha.
Director Butt.
Present.
Director Grohl.
Here.
And thank you. And again, welcome to our board meetings full time now. Next is special presentations. We have a special presentation regarding summer hiring from the Recreation Division. I believe our director, Rochelle Callis, is going to be leading us off with that.
Yes, thank you, Chair Nichols and members of the board. Actually, I'm not even going to fake this. It's really James's presentation, but I offered to step in. So we are doing this tonight because before summer last year, I had a board member ask me some questions about hiring process and some other information. And I thought it would just be a great opportunity for us to go ahead and put together a presentation and kind of let you guys know, if you don't already know, all the great things in the summer that we do that's above and beyond, and how that impacts our staffing, our programs, and facilities. So we're going to talk a little bit, James and I are splitting this up. We're going to talk a little bit about some 4 different things. So summer sessions, seasonal jobs, concert series, and our survey results.
All right, so we thought it would be a good idea to kind of first put into context what the summer session looks like at CRPD. So we just wanted to run through it kind of by the numbers first. So first of all, it is a 9-week program session, and that's pretty much dictated by when the school year ends and when it picks up again. So we run from the first Monday after school ends all the way to the last Friday before school picks up again. We run 5 summer day camps. So our little folks camp takes as young as 4 years old all the way up through 12 years old at Wildwood Camp. We have dozens of enrichment camps, which are typically 1-week specialized activities, and they actually take up 8 pages of our summer program guide. So there's quite a lot of options there, and we'll talk more about that later. In addition to the CLU pool that we run year-round, we actually have 2 additional pools during the summer, both of which are a partnership with the school district, and that's at Thousand Oaks and Newbury Park High School. And then by the end of it all, we end up hiring about 100 additional staff each year. And this varies obviously year to year, but it's about 45 staff for day camp, an additional 35 staff for aquatics, and usually about 20 additional staff for recreation. And so in total, this summer, we had 17,000 enrollments, which an average session for us is closer to about 8,000. So it's basically like having a double session for us all at once. And we were able to give out 56 scholarships for programs this year, which is always great. And so one of our biggest drivers of that enrollment is, of course, our day camps. And so here's just a few photos from different activities we do. So we do arts and crafts, sports, water play, they do songs, and so tons of different activities for them. We had about 2,500 enrollments throughout our camps throughout the 9 weeks. And so we can see here, this is just a listing of each camp down the left, and then across is each week of the summer and how many kids we had. We max out at 60. So everywhere that you see a 60 means we were sold out for that camp and could not take any more kids. And so if you look at how full we are in total across all the camps, our lowest was 93%, usually much higher than that, closer to 99% on a given week. So definitely super busy. And then our other big driver of enrollment, of course, is swim lessons. So with 3 pools running, we end up getting about 4,000 enrollments for swim lessons. They're doing usually 4 mini sessions at the CLU pool, coupled with 3 mini sessions at each of the high school pools.
So with that, we have to hire people. And so we talk about the hiring. So with aquatics, we have pool managers and assistant pool managers that we do not have normally during the year because Dee and Xavier do that. So those are 4 positions that are hired there. Day camps, all those positions are summer only. And then the aquatics lifeguards, senior lifeguards, and all the recreation staff, we have to hire extra for the summer. Like James said, you know, aquatics, give or take, I think Shelley pulled the numbers for me today. And in aquatics this last year, we had approximately 50 extra staff for just for aquatics. So and that all eats up that 100 that James was talking about. So basically 5 additional different jobs that come open in the summer. So how do we advertise and get the word out? So we have hiring flyers. We do, in March, we start advertising in CalOps. We feature stuff in newsletters that go out in emails. We do social media posts with the flyers and asking people to come and join us. We have ads in the Acorn. We do shout outs. So the pool specifically, Dee and Xavier work with both high schools and they do morning announcements in regards to the aquatics positions. And then flyers out at the facilities, at colleges. Dee and Xavier also go to swim teams and other swim type groups, and they make announcements about getting their lifeguard certificate and having a summer job, local businesses. And then our staff go out to colleges and do college fairs also. So those were the dates that they went out to the college fairs. So as you can see, this all starts really early in the year, prepping for June. So the schedule for day camp is March. All the job postings, they actually started interviewing in the middle of March. Interviews continued throughout April. They have recently in the last couple of years started doing like a day, they pick a day and a time. They go through applications, they invite people to the interview, and once a week they're doing interviews so that they can just continually keep hiring people. This year, the last day that they did interviews was May 8th, and that was because they had actually filled all the positions. So some years that doesn't happen, and they're going into when camp is going and stuff. But aquatics specifically has a really good turnaround on getting people coming back. So, and same even with camp and camp counselors. By June, we're doing orientation and training, and then camp begins in June. So this is just a sample of a training week, and this is specific for the day camp. So they do lots of training on songs and management of their programs and planning their schedules, and then obviously risk management and mandated reporter and other mandated HR trainings. So, and then aquatics is a similar, but they start actually in January. They'll start getting their schedule together, figuring out how many staff that they're going to need. They reach out to their past staff, summer staff, and see if they're going to be returning. They get applications out for new hires in March, April. They do tryouts. After the tryouts, they do interviews and then hiring, and hopefully everyone's hired before and trained before the summer starts. This is one of the flyers that they put out. So what they expect of lifeguards is in order to be a lifeguard in the summer, they need to get their lifeguard certification. And then they need to register for a tryout day. They have, I think he said they have 7, like one every other week as it gets closer to summer. These are the basics of what they have to be able to do. If they do well at this and they're either enrolled in their lifeguard certificate or have their lifeguard certificate, they are invited right after their tryout to do an interview. And then after the interview, they decide if they're going to tentatively offer them a job. And then they submit their application and everything. So, is this still me? Okay, great. I don't have my notes. So the clubs in the mini camp. So these are staff taught classes. So when you talk about, we had aquatics and we had camp. Now we have the center's regular business that they're doing and the things that they increase during the summer. So clubs and mini camps, these are all things that they do extra or more of in the summer. So Club Conejo, skateboard, summer camps, camps for skateboarding, summer adventures, that is at Dos Vientos. Dos Vientos did a junior ranger program this year. So just a lot of different things that the individual centers are able to use creativity and add some different things in the summer. And they do that with the help of additional staff. So the enrichment camps are offered by independent contractors. And so those are more specific classes with specific skills. And so those are our independent contractor classes. And we have special events that happen during the summer, specifically with the units. We have the Touch-A-Truck and we have the Conejo Campout, which is at Dos Vientos, and then all of the things that we do at 4th of July also.
And of course, we can't talk about special events in the summer without mentioning our summer concerts. So this is going to be a little bit of a preview of our later presentation on Placer AI, but we were actually able to use that information for this presentation to see how many people approximately were attending each of our concerts this year. So Memorial Day concerts, usually our biggest one of the year. This year it happened to be a Journey cover band, and we had 7,500 people there. And then we had 4th of July was the Springsteen experience, with over 3,000. Our Tina Turner tribute had over 2,000. Our August concert featuring a Dave Matthews Band cover was 1,600. And then our Labor Day concert with Skinner and Friends was over 3,000. So all together, if you add everything up, we had over 17,000 people come to these 5 shows, which is huge. And we have that information thanks to Placer AI. And here's just some photos of each of them. You can see how big the crowd is and how into it some of the people get when they're up in the front rows dancing. And then we also just wanted to talk about some of the feedback that we got from our participants after the summer. So we do surveys as we do every session. So this year we sent 3 different surveys out in August. So one was particular to day camps, one was particular to enrichment camps, and then one for our general rec programs and other events. We had over 400 responses in total across all 3 of those, which is about a 5.6% response rate. And we do ask for them to give us an overall satisfaction rating. 93% or higher gave us a rating of 7 or higher, and 83% gave us a rating of 9 or 10 out of 10. So that's pretty good. So that gives us our net promoter score, which is basically just a metric of how many people are out there saying good things about you compared to how many might be saying negative things. And so a score of 70 to 100 is considered excellent, and this is just a nationwide metric, and we scored a 76. So it's pretty solid. It's usually we score around the 70s throughout the year, so it's actually higher than some other sessions for us. So it's a great score. And then just some other specific information from those surveys, particular to day camp. We did ask them, what was your favorite part of camp? And their answer this year was the counselors, which we're really happy about. That was over swimming, over arts and crafts, over all the special presentations we had. And then we asked them to rate the counselors on a few different metrics. So things like, did you feel that your kids were safe and well supervised? Were the camp counselors engaging and making it a fun experience? Did they communicate well? And all of those ratings, we got at least a 92%, or some of them even 100% approval from our parents. And then just a few quotes we had from parents. This is our second summer camp experience with CRPD, and we will for sure continue every summer. And then one from aquatics that we thought was really awesome. Our kids are confident, safe, and proud swimmers who love the water because of your program. We are so thankful to have this weight lifted and are looking forward to next summer. So it's showing that not only are kids having fun, but they're also learning important life skills. And that's why we're all here doing these jobs that we love.
So with that, as you can see, our staff are super busy, offering great things for the kids in the community. And so summer's just not a season. It's a time where kids discover confidence, they build friendships, and they learn life skills that shape them into who they become. And this is such a privilege that our staff have to be able to do this and help the kids of our future and the families and give this to parents. So I'm super proud of our whole team, and we couldn't do it without everybody, you guys doing your thing, Melissa and Andrew doing their thing, so that we can do this for the kids in our community, help raise well-rounded individuals. So with that, we are available for questions.
Thank you so much. Who's got the first questions or comments? Director Huffer.
Thank you very much. And thank you for the presentation and all the information. Problem is there was so much information. I had so many questions. I could go on for 15 or 20 minutes. I don't want to take it all, but the fact that a relatively small number of you are able to recruit, train, manage over 100 people each summer is fairly incredible. And kudos to the entire team that was involved with this. It's absolutely wonderful. I'm just curious, of the 100 or so extra staff, extra folks that you hire for the summer, how many of them are returnees? They've been doing this for 2, 3, 4 years.
I would say there's a large percentage that are returning. So 45 to 50% probably, but I do not know that exact answer.
Yeah.
I know aquatics has great return on their people. Camp might not be as much, and it ebb and flows too. Like for several years, it could be really great, and then they finish college and they go off and do other things, and then we're starting over again. So, but we're pretty consistent, I think, with right around 100 new people every, summer coming in and training and stuff.
Okay. And speaking of aquatics, you mentioned the lifeguard certification. Is that the Red Cross certification?
Yes.
Just out of
It would
curiosity,
be an
is
Xavier
that
teach.
certification, is that lifetime? So if you get it once, you're always certified?
No, I believe you have to renew it every couple of years.
Oh, so my lifeguard certification from 50 or 60 years ago wouldn't be useful, huh?
Not today unless you want to renew
No.
it.
Darn, okay. And then the last question, one of the many special programs you listed was, I think it's called Little Folks. What is that, and just very briefly, what does it entail?
So Little Folks Camp is basically a summer all-day camp for our littler folks. So it's arts, crafts outside, but they do more, they stay at one location. We have it at a school campus. And it's mostly, the younger kindergarten, first graders that we
Okay.
have.
So
But
if I-
yeah, day camp. So arts, crafts, sports, games, no nap.
So if I had my 2 kindergarten age grandsons visiting for the summer, that.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Again,
absolutely.
thank you for what the entire staff has done this summer and all these summers. So great job.
Director Buss.
Yeah, I don't have any questions, but I just want to tell you that all the families that I know cannot wait to get into your camps, and they absolutely love them. And especially for them being more affordable than when you start looking at the private camps. I mean, the cost difference is substantial. It's crazy how expensive it is to the other camps. And so, yeah, I just want to let you know that all my girlfriends are always like, can't wait. What camps are you doing? This, that. I mean, now my kids are aging out of it a little bit, they're getting a little older, but all of the ones who still have
Time
young
for a
ones.
job.
I know. I was like, what age are you hiring at again? I got a 14-year-old now.
16.
I got a ways to go. But thank you so much for all you do, because it really, I mean, you guys have a great reputation through the whole community. So thank you.
Director Orozco.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you guys so much for what a wonderful presentation. I know summer is always just such a big lift. And so it was nice to see all of the different activities and the numbers of what the summer looked like. I just have a couple questions. I was curious about your wait list. I know that you said that a lot of your camps were at capacity, and I was just curious what it looks like on the other side of the wait list.
So with the wait list, this year we actually made a specific decision to only go up to 60 kids. We feel for the quality of the program and
Yeah.
the supervision of the kids that we wanted to keep it smaller. We've tried a couple years ago to kind of start increasing things, and we just felt that it was better at that kind of max of 60. So wait lists, there are several kids on the wait list sometimes, but they do really try to, like, if this camp has a wait list, they'll try, hey, there's camps over here that you can go to.
Sure.
And because they're all pretty close, most people who need or want it will move around to wherever there's space, so.
Great. And then I know for the summer concerts, you'd mentioned that there were 17,000 visitors altogether for all of the concerts. Are those unique visits, or are those just total number of visitors for all the concerts added together?
Yeah, so it's the total. So we took the total at each concert and added it up. So if someone did
Gotcha.
come to all five, they'd be counted 5 times.
Got it. Thank you. And then do we have any kind of participant feedback for our summer employees?
No, we do not. I feel there may be a survey coming in.
Great. Thank you again. I really appreciate it.
Director Cuthbert.
Well, I have to agree with everyone else. I think it's amazing that you pull this off. And so I'm very impressed that you can be giving young people a week of training and these counselors, and they are getting that high of ratings. As somebody who is very experienced at working with young children for long periods of time, that's a difficult job, you know, for somebody just to go through that training. Now, are these primarily college students, or how does that work? High school, college students? How?
I'd say they're primarily college, older than high school, for sure. So college age. We are blessed though that we do have some that are older than college that come and do it. And we have several kids from high school, but I'd say probably there's a bigger percentage of high schoolers in the aquatics programs than the camp programs.
Ah.
So we try to keep it about 18 or older for camp programs, just because there's the ratio and who can supervise kids. But yeah, it's amazing what they put them through in the week, but then there's also training every week after that too.
Oh,
So
okay.
they're constantly doing touch bases or out in the field doing trainings and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I was just very impressed with their dedication and their ability. So do you give them some sort of lesson plans to go by, or do they just come up with all of their own ideas?
I'm gonna speak off the cuff a little bit. I believe there are basic guidelines for what the week is, like the theme for the week and stuff. And then I think when they do their trainings, they're allowed to add some different things in it, but the directors of every camp have a lot of say into that, because then they do all their shopping before and all that good stuff. But they usually have like the theme and the specialty programs nailed down before camp staff's probably even hired. Yeah.
So are the directors full or part-time employees here?
Everyone's part-time.
Oh, okay. But I mean, not just the camp counselors. You have
Mhm.
directors that are regular employees here for those camps, or are they also just summer hires?
It depends. So some of our part-time staff that are year-round, they will take the lead on summer camp, but everyone's part-time. So the only
Okay.
full-time staff we have at any center, well, at most centers, are supervisor and coordinator. There's a few centers that have a couple of extra, but
And so I was wondering, I could probably look in the catalog and figure it out, but if you sign up your child for summer camp, are you signing up for the whole summer, or are you just signing up for certain weeks?
you sign up for certain weeks.
Okay.
When
And
you register, you pay a deposit on each week that you want. And that then we charge you for the different
So do a
weeks.
lot of people sign up for the whole summer? I'm just thinking of working parents. It's probably something they want.
Yeah, it's actually not a large percentage that do the whole summer, but most people do like between 5 to 9 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. So usually they'll take a week off to do like a family trip somewhere or something to that effect. So they're not here every week. And typically the 4th of July, especially that week, we do see lower numbers. But a lot of people do stay with us most of the summer.
Well, that's, I think, nice because I'm sure a lot of camps you pay for the summer. So this way, if they're going to be gone for a couple of weeks, they don't have to pay for those weeks, which is a benefit to our families, I'm sure. So, so one other thing that I shouldn't say this, but I thought it was so funny. And then, at my first look, I thought, oh, Recreation Division, summer hiring. Oh, do we have a new employee called summer hiring? And then I thought, no, they're going to talk about summer hiring. I thought, oh, we have a new employee called summer hiring. No, it didn't take me long to figure that out, but that was my first thing that I thought, oh, who's summer hiring? I haven't heard of her before. Okay, so I'll leave that at that. I didn't need to draw attention to my misinterpretation, but I thought it was so funny. But thank you for doing such a wonderful job. It's a huge benefit to our community.
Thank you. And again, thank you for the presentation. I remember wondering how this all works. I knew that it worked quite well because there's a lot of success, but to see the time frame where you have to gear up and anticipate the various camps and the seasonal and everything else that goes into that. Appreciate that. I had a number of questions. Most of them have been asked and answered. I was curious how many of the volunteers that you have, because I was looking at the latest catalog and there's a number of volunteers being recognized. How many volunteers get promoted to seasonal part-time staff? Is that like some, occasional, rare?
It's not rare. It's especially with our kids in the Borchard Teen Summer Program for volunteers. Many of them do become staff at some point, but I don't have a percentage of how many of them. But we are definitely, the staff out in the field are definitely about growing our staff. So kids that participate in preschool, and you've heard it from staff, they participate in our programs, then they become volunteers, then they become staff, and then they stay until they go off to careers. So, we're really lucky that people enjoy working for our staff.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, and I was thinking you could add to that list there we're seeing there, and you're developing future park district employees.
Mhm.
Because that's what you do. So, because we've heard that time and again, like you said, somebody that started in preschool and went through the ranks. And then the last question I had is, how many of these who you are training to be part-time for seasonal actually come around to being a full-time, I say, well, year-round part-time and maybe even beyond?
I'd say a decent percentage become full year round. Sorry.
Mhm.
If they're not going away to college or have the ability to be in college and not need a job, I'd say a decent handful will end up staying year round. So,
That's good. I think it's also encouraging to you because you hate to invest so much time and staff and then just watch them leave.
yeah,
But if you know that there is some return to that, aside from it being of value to the community, obviously,
yeah.
especially
The-
when you see that comment that the kids and parents love the counselors, that's great. And they don't know who's full-time, part-time or anything.
Yeah.
So it's a good rapport for the park district, but not only are you investing in them as individuals, but it is coming around to benefit the district as a whole. So that's encouraging as well. But thank you very much for the presentation and to provide some figures and some of the feedback. We're here to, just like, that we've heard up here from the various board members, we always get great positive feedback, but you're able to kind of give us the actual numbers and some specifics. James, thank you. But so thank you for all the behind the scenes work that make this go so well. Thank you very much. Okay, that's our special presentations. Next, we have items from the public. I do have one speaker card here. Alec Schulman, if you care to join us up at the podium here, please. And we customarily allow for 3 minutes, but if you got a little extra, we'll. And if you could speak into the microphone, please.
Needs to push the button.
Thank you. Started 20 years ago when we moved in. My wife said, okay, we're gonna build a family here. Let's start helping, volunteering with the city. I started as well. I went to police volunteering. I participated in police volunteering. Then she asked me to go to CRPD as well to help clean the new trails, build new trails, and I did participate as well. I still remember that we won with my little daughter. We won the bicycle, and this bicycle is still running in our family as well. So it's good memories and community volunteering. This is from my heart. I've been working in construction, but working in technology industry 5 years ago. I couldn't continue to work. It's lots of stress after the pandemic, after the layoffs, lots of companies. So I decided to step out from technology and start building my dragon fruit orchard at my home. Plants overgrow, and I decided to share with the Rabbi Chaim Brisky, of Thousand Oaks, and this it's beautiful fruit and nice plants. Not many people know about this. I start to research a little bit. It's probably like a handful of people in California, in America, that actually grow like not commercially, grow like multiple varieties. So I offer him space. I offer him like to build a garden because the unique fruit of dragon fruit is good for the religious time, which is 2 weeks during the Rosh Hashanah, when they make special prayer of the unique fruit. So he blessed me, and I start building with my own money, with my own time and everything. I built a little garden. Fortunately, I don't know, the plants start to grow, and it's basically containers. You build the trellises, and plants grow like umbrella style, and gives the fruit in the summertime. So we managed to give to all these Chabad centers as well. The people come to pray for the flowers. People come to pray for the birds. I have like at least dozen of nests in the containers. The house finch, the dove nests, lots of lizards, bunnies running. So it's beautiful environment created there. With my son, which he was like 11-year-old, he said, okay, let's start create some YouTube channels. So we create a Nature with Alec YouTube channel, and we start show how to build the trellises, what is the dragon fruit, how do you grow, the nature. I've been traveling around the world, and I share all my videos. And my son was 11. He started to build all the videos for me. So that was a pleasure, like education material. So plants did grow, and I start to share with master gardening classes. I start to share with other communities and schools coming. People have a tour tasting what is the dragon fruit. So I become like educator for all of the people. My clients, I would say my members, from 6 months old to over 80-year-old, which people come and call me every day. Alec, thank you so much for your participation. Thank you so much for giving me life, because lots of people with mental issues, lots of people with physical disability, lots of people with cancer issues. You give them life, you give them a plant, and they continue to grow. And every year they call me and say, thank you, Alec. I see the flower, I see the fruit, I see the beautiful future of my life, So it gives them something to enjoy, and that gives me a heart, I don't ask, I signed myself $5 salary, whatever I could make from this one on sales, whichever I was getting 30 years ago when I came to America, was my $5 salary. I said, okay, I'm going to keep this salary for myself to pay for my car, to pay for the insurance, to pay for this. And eventually, this all back is documents and papers and reports, and people from universities calling me, Alec, can I have an interview with you as well? So, they educate them about how to grow, how does the industry works, and everything. They getting back reports with me, with professors, so happy to do this. And even I got article in Edible magazine, just the latest release. They wrote about me as a nice like a solar farmer and everything, how my life and everything, how do I participate. So everything is just a community, and I feel so good that we do. But eventually, I understand Mr. Andrew Mooney, I'm sure various situations, so it just overgrow a little bit. So the letter came in, says, sorry, it's just too much and everything. We have to move with the orchard, and we try to save it, but apparently they ask us to move. So I'm looking for the place. I know it's a deadline. Deadline is November 1st. I have to move my orchard. I've worked very hard because it's just myself. I'm trying to look for people with experience how to move 100 containers, 45-gallon containers with a plant, about 800 pounds weight. I will move. I'm already found a place in Moore Park, which is just the fields. It's not going to be orchard. It's going to be just a farming life. Unfortunately, people cannot come and see and enjoy and talk to them and give them like healing, of meditation garden, of seeing the nature, seeing the birds in the nest, seeing the eggs. That's what was bring me beautiful life to share with. But I'm just asking permission if Mr. Andrew Mooney will give me like a little extension, maybe until like January 15, because I already found the trucks, I found the forklifts and everything. It's just time. It took me 5 years to build this orchard. It's so hard to move it within like short period of time. And I need to prepare the new place. I need to put the weed barrier. I need to level the soil. And I need to relocate. And I calculated each truck probably would take pallets and everything, 4 to 5 plants each move. Each move is going to take about an hour. So if I could make like 4 or 5 trips a day, it's going to take me time. So I would really appreciate if you give me like a little bit extension, and do not punish the owner, the Rabbi Chaim Brisky and his wife, and ownership and everything. So I will clean the area. It will be same as metal fence in the dust as it was before 5 years ago. We just sorry to lose the beautiful nature, but I totally okay with moving. But just I really appreciate if you give me some time. I'm working hard to move it, and every day I just want to get too much pressure on myself and my community as well. People asking every day. I have like hundreds and hundreds of messages on my phone. Alec, what's going on? I opened the GoFundMe page as well, because they funded whatever people asking, tens of $1,000 just to relocate the plants, and I need to prepare it for the new location. So only I'm asking just the time. I give so much to community, I give so much to our city and everything, and people know about me around the world, and hundreds of thousands of people feedback. I have like my Nature with Alec and Google page, 135 5 stars reviews. Thank you. Just letters and everything. So,
Mr. Schulman, thank you. Thank
yeah,
you for your
please.
presentation. Just so you know, with this being a public comment,
Yes,
we're able to hear and to
Yes.
listen and pay attention to your comments and appreciate that. It is a wonderful
I've
story.
been
Thank you
trying
for
to
sharing.
reach. I really
But we're not able
Yes.
to respond
correct.
because it's not on the agenda.
Okay.
However, I know Director Mooney and our general manager have been listening, and they will, I'm sure Mr. Mooney will get out to
Yes.
you. He's very good about responding. So he will interact with you and
Please. I
certainly
just
make
need a
whatever
little
arrangements.
extra
But
time,
thank
yeah.
you for coming
I-
tonight and sharing
Thank you so much.
about the whole effort. Thank you very much. Okay, I have no other cards. Do we have anybody waiting online for public comments that wants to speak to us? No? Okay, thank you very much. All right, that being the case, we will move to the item number 5, approval of the agenda. If there are any suggestions for changing the agenda, if not, a motion to approve.
I'll make a mo-
Approval of the agenda.
And I'll make a second to that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so approved. Next is our consent calendar with the minutes and the warrants. If there's any comments for changes or anything else or questions, and if not, a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Thank
And
you.
I'll second.
Thank you. We got a group participation tonight. All right, a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. That takes us to item 7, deferred matters. We have none. And then we have items for discussion. A is Placer AI, and I think we're going to defer to our general manager, who's going to at least tee this up.
Sure. Yeah, it gives me a pleasure to introduce our two analysts working on this, Luis Jimenez and James Foster. They're going to do the whole presentation, but I did want to just, as a very short, by way of background, I was personally at I don't even remember exactly what is an economic conference or something at CLU, and one of the presenters was Sandy Siegel, who is the owner of Newmark Merrill, which owns the Jantz Marketplace. And he lives nearby, and Newmark Merrill is a big company and has a lot of centers. And one of the things he was really excited about and demonstrated as part of that was what Placer AI meant to the commercial real estate industry and the visitor counts and the capabilities of this product. And so we did a little research and found out they in fact are the kind of leader in terms of the accuracy and quality of their data. And they hadn't really focused on government as much as the private sector, and they are kind of beginning and kind of working to extend what they can do. And I'm not going to get too into that. I'm going to let these guys do it, but they are, growing their government services division. So just so you know, this is a software product that we bought a 1-year subscription. I don't know that we'll need it year after year after year, but you'll see it and kind of think for yourself. But it wasn't inexpensive, but as you'll see, we're getting visitor information and counts that like we could have only dreamed of without this. So with that, I'm going to kick it over to James and Louise to kind of walk us through what Placer AI is and what it's doing.
Thank you, Jim. I am back. So we're going to just expand on what Jim was saying and first talk about what is Placer AI. And so straight from their website, it says that they are the world's most advanced visitation analytics platform, which is basically a fancy way of saying they tell us how many people are in a location. They provide insights to any point of interest for deeper understanding of the factors that drive success. They partner with a wide variety of mobile apps, which generate a panel of more than 25 million users. And they use machine learning and advanced algorithms to then estimate how many people are in a given location all throughout the United States. So our subscription gives us access to just California. And currently we've only been able to kind of explore our own places, but there is the potential to compare us to neighboring cities and other regions too. So how does this work? So the data comes from anyone who has a cell phone. Anyone that has a cell phone with their location services turned on, so it's an opt-in situation, and you have to have opted into giving your location to 2 apps that are partnered with Placer. And once you've done that, and you go to, say, one of our parks, we now know that your location is that specific park. And so those data providers, the apps that partner with Placer, they scrub away any personally identifying information. So we don't get your name or address or phone number or anything like that. But they do send over that location data to Placer, who then uses their algorithm to estimate how many people in total are at the park at that time. And then we, as subscribers, get to access their website and all of the reports that they have built into their system. So what types of data can we see at that point? By location and date and time, we can filter down to see visit counts. We can see unique visitors. We can see time spent in parks. It gives you kind of an average of the dwell time that someone's visiting any of these locations, how often they're visiting a given location. And then visitor origin is where are they coming from? Are they local people just driving down the street, or are they driving in from LA County, Camarillo, any other neighboring areas like those? And then we also get the pre and post visitation info. So not only do we know that they were at, say, Conejo Community Park, but we can tell that they came from McDonald's and then went to our event and then left and went home, or things of that sort. So we'll talk more about that in a little minute. And then we also get demographic information on the visitors. So the persons per household. So how many people are living in their household? Are there children in those households? What is the income of the household and the age of the people at the event? We can even filter it to age by gender. And then we get information about ethnicity, ancestry, and languages spoken. So just as an example, we use the Memorial Day concert that we just previously were talking about. And what they give us here is a plot of how many people were at Conejo Community Park every hour of the day throughout the day. And as you can see, the 4 to 6 p.m. time is where it starts peaking up there. And we can see that at 5 o'clock, which was right when the concert started, we had 7,200 people there. So what we can also do is see, we can put in a specific time frame of say 5 to 7, which is the actual concert time. And that'll give us how many people in total were there throughout those 2 hours. So we get the peak time and how many in total. And then if they're coming to different events, we get the different people that came to each one. So a cool thing about that is we can use this for sponsorship opportunities. So like I was saying, we get the pre and post visitation info. So on the left, we see where people came from prior. So for the concert, again, it's on a holiday, so most people came from home, 71%. Unfortunately, 4% had to come from work. Got to work on holidays sometimes. But then we see that people came from the movie theaters, or they came from Starbucks, or they were staying at the Marriott. And then they come to our event, which is represented by that dot there. And then they go, most people went back home. Others went to Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, Dick's Sporting Goods, or the Jan Marketplace. So what we can do then is reach out to those specific businesses and say, hey, we have data showing that because of our event, you're getting all these customers who head straight over there when they're done. So it gives us more of a background in when we're reaching out for sponsorships that we have actual data to give them. We can also do targeted programming. So with that demographic info we were talking about, we can look up, for an example, visitors' households income below 25,000. And what that gives us is how many percentage of the visitors at each park have that income threshold. And we can see if we wanted to target parks in our less served communities, underserved communities, which we do with our rec ban, these would be the places that we want to send the rec ban. And now I'll turn it over to Luis for more info.
Thank you. You're probably thinking, you probably have a lot of questions at this point, and we still have more of a data dump, which is great. It's fun. The software has been, it's extremely powerful, and it's something for James and I are primarily the ones using it, but it's been eye-opening. It maybe sometimes confirms some of the questions or sort of our perception of certain parks. We think, oh, this park has this amount of people, or you're trying to imagine how much traffic will pass through a certain area, and this is an excellent tool for that. So I just want to go over now. We'll get into how James already has gone into how Rec has dove into using Placer. We're also using this for parks and planning. So thinking about the future of certain parks by understanding how our parks are being utilized, which ones are being used more seasonally. We can look at quarters, seasons, years, which will give us a good insight of how our community is using our parks. So by analyzing our visitation and demographic data, we can see trends on how to better serve our community. How many people are in our parks during the summer, how many people are coming to our special events, what zip codes people are traveling from. This is really incredible. I love seeing how far people will travel to come to some of our parks, which is, I think, just as important as understanding the community we're serving, but how many people are traveling to come to some of our parks. And could we improve and provide more amenities to our parks based on visitation numbers? This is an infographic I created for our Conejo Creek West and Northwest parks as we're planning just the future of what the potential of Conejo Creek West. We recently had 4 community outreach meetings that Director Andrew Mooney and our park planner Tabitha McAtee were hosting, where we had at least several hundred people coming out over the course of 4 different days. And this was a great outreach for us to just hear directly from the community how they're using the site and what they envision for the future. Alongside with our community meetings, I was crunching a lot of data, a lot of numbers, and just trying to understand better how many people are coming to Conejo Creek West. Here, I calculated our highest annual park visits, which is 234,913 visits. So that is the visits is how many people are constantly coming back to a park. And then below that, you'll see unique visitors where we have 30,582 people with a visitor frequency of 7.68, which is actually one of our highest parks with high visitor frequency. So that means many of the same people are coming back to the same park, which is awesome to see. And we can see this for all of our parks as well. But for Conejo Creek West, I also broke down all of the other amenities within the park. I created geofences to better understand the dog park, the Los Flores Community Garden, and the equestrian arenas throughout the park to give us a better visualization of what or how people are using our parks. And this was really eye-opening. I think we all enjoyed seeing this for the first time. This was, I would say, one of the first major projects we're using Placer AI for, is to sort of guide us and direct us alongside with what the community is sharing with us as well. And then again, this is still related to Conejo Creek West, just seeing where people are coming from, unique visitors from different zip codes. I broke down our zip codes within our district, and then I also took a look at our zip code, our neighboring zip codes that are outside of our district, but still have high visitation. Conejo Creek West has a big equestrian community, so Simi Valley has quite a bit more than the other neighboring communities, but some of it are assumptions that we have, but it's nice to see a number to it and seeing exactly where people are coming from and how they're using our parks. And then we get to also play nice games with all this data. Data is beautiful, and it's funny when you start looking at all these numbers. I'm looking at them all day, but now I want to ask all you all some questions. Which park has the most visits per year? Do you want to raise your hand, or if you want, or Director Bus?
The soccer fields, Conejo Creek South.
That's right. 568,000 people
That's right. I read
coming to
the
Conejo Creek
pamphlet.
South.
And I think most of those visits were by you, right?
Pretty much. It's just me and my kids.
Oh, that's great. I think the visitor frequency for that park is around 4 point something. So that means, which makes sense. A lot of people are recurring visitors coming back, playing multiple games, families coming back multiple times to the same park. Question number 2, which park had the fewest visits in 2024? Director Huffer.
Oh, you're putting the pressure on that.
Yeah, you raised your hand earlier, so.
I'm gonna take a wild shot and say Northwood Park.
Northwood Park, Suburbia at 7.3 thousand.
No,
I guess you do have a
didn't have a
list.
complete list. That's the problem.
Oh, you do have a complete list, but not on that one that you have in front of you. There's the bigger packet. And then last question. How many visits did we get for all parks in 2024? That's 3.5 million, 5.4 million, 6 million, or 7.5 million.
I'll go with the top, 7.5 million.
7.5? Anyone else?
6 million.
6 million.
It's probably 5.4.
We're gonna pick each one. We're gonna, all right. 6 million visits for all of our park units, which is incredible. So now I'll go ahead and give, we're gonna do a quick demo of the actual website just to give you a little more insight on what it looks like and just show you more potential of what we could do. I mean, a lot of this website, it just like gets your, you know, your ideas running wild, which is part of the fun. I'm gonna take this.
Get closer.
Okay, so here we have, when we
My
first
glasses
started
can
with
read this
Placer,
like that.
we actually work closely with one of their data representatives, and I had to prepare a lot of the geospatial data for them, giving them all of the geofence boundaries for all of our park sites and our Conejo open space Casca properties as well. So I'm always working closely with them. They're really responsive, which is great. And any little tweaks I need to do, any questions that come up, we're able to talk to them on the fly. So here I have our CRPD Parks Master List, and this will just quickly give you all of our park sites. I'm gonna go ahead and, oops, gonna go ahead and open this up and look at it as a whole. There are a myriad of filters here. You can decide on what timeframes you'd like to see. I think it's always best to look at a full year. Lately I always go to 2024, just because it gives you a better idea of all our visitation. So here's our 6.1 million visits. Shows you average visits, how many units. So we have 62 park sites that I have on this list. Average dwell time is about an hour. There's just quite a number of data. We can see visit trends based on daily, weekly, monthly, throughout the year. We can go back, our data goes back up to 7 years, I believe. So we have 7 years of data and it's on a rolling basis. So as time goes on, the data before kind of moves with it. Visitor data year over year. Because the software is really driven for commercial businesses, there is a lot about household incomes, but also chains. The software is really driven towards sales force and like understanding sales metrics. But as Jim mentioned earlier, they're really trying to push for parks and government. So we're actually in a lot of beta testing with them. They're using our parks data to process new ways to generate reports for parks and public agencies like ourselves. So here's our list. It brings it down from top to bottom. You do have a packet in front of you, and that's essentially an exported version of what I'm showing you here. I omitted some of the charts on your packet, but this is anything we could find is on here. Hourly visits. This is for our entire park, but if we're curious about one park individually, we can dive into that and really hone into exactly what time, you know, one of our parks is being used, as James showed us with the Memorial Day concerts. Was that? Right. Oh, there you go. Let me show you. What I want to show you as well is how we can compare our parks to other spaces, other public spaces, alongside with, I've included our Casca open space as well. And this will give us a comparison. Let me go back to 2024. And we can see here, Casca open space has about 787,000 visits per year versus 6.1 million for all of our park sites. Scroll down to the list, and then here's Wildwood Regional Park at 310,000, North Ranch Open Space. I also have Rancho Sierra Vista, which is a National Park Service site, Dos Vientos Open Space, Conejo Open Space, and I could open these reports individually and find more information about that specific site. And then here you'll see the geofence for the area. So Wildwood, it's a huge area alongside with our other open spaces, but we can also focus on smaller areas of our park, smaller parks as well to gather some of this information. Here's Del Prado playfields. And as James mentioned earlier, by having all this data, location data, but also demographic data, it helps us target certain communities or just to better understand certain communities. Just this morning, our superintendent, Patrick Belovic, he asked me, could we find which parks have which parks are closer to or have more of a Spanish speaking, so Hispanic or Latino communities around them, so that we can, as we're updating our ordinance signs at our parks, we can have bilingual signage put in certain parks. So that will help with our decision making in terms of being more precise about what parks would benefit more from having bilingual signs than others. But that's just one example. And with that, I think I'm open for questions, and I'd love to show you more. It's a lot, and it's like, it's a lot of information, but it's really powerful tool, and I'm sure you might have some more questions for James and I.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll start with questions. Like, can I start on the right this time since I started left last time? Director Cussworth, do you have questions? Try to rotate a little bit.
I'm absolutely overwhelmed and a little bit terrified.
Yeah,
In fact, I'm actually on my phone to see if my location is on. Trying to see where that is. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a little, because you're not having who everybody is, but somebody has that information,
Yeah.
right? Somebody knows where I'm going to eat and what I'm doing and that's a little terrifying, don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate this information that you're getting, but yeah, that is, it's absolutely fabulous. How do we define a unique visit? Who's a unique person or a unique visit? How is that defined? Do you know?
That's, you can imagine an individual phone or a person. One person is a unique visitor, because many times some people visit parks multiple times. You will be counted multiple times. Every time that you leave the geofence or if you leave the park property and you come back, I don't know what their time frame window is. Like, say you were there in the morning and then you come back in the evening, you might get counted twice. So when I'm in that packet, when we're seeing the big number saying visits, that could be us. I mean, it probably is us because most of like employees, we're going in and out of our parks every year, including Hillcrest Center for the Arts is on that list. It is counting all of us right now. But if we're here every single day, that's when you're increasing the unique visitor count for a site. So Conejo Creek South is a great example, where there's ongoing games, there's leagues going on. So it could be the same families coming over and over throughout the season. So the unique visitor count will go up, but it's the same person.
Okay, so the unique visitor, just to clarify, the unique visitor is somebody that keeps coming to the same park frequently, or the unique visitor is someone who only comes to that park once?
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah. When it says visitors in a given time, so say in a given year, that there's 10,000 visitors. If I came to the park every week, so it came about 50 times, that's 50 visits, but I'm one unique visitor. That's the difference.
Oh, okay, so they wouldn't be counting you 50 times.
When we say visits, it does count the same person over and over, but if we say visitors, unique visitors, it just counts them once.
Oh, okay.
So you can get a very different story depending on which number you're talking about.
Okay, so let's say Marissa's family would only be counted once as a visitor, but all of their visits would add up. Is that what you're
Exactly.
saying?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Because it sounded, I was wondering, are these strange visitors? Are these
Yeah.
odd? Because you're getting all these, the language they speak, where they work, what they look like. And so that's what I was just wondering what that was referring to as unique.
Some people are very unique.
I guess a good example would be if you look at this top 25 list in front of you. If you look at Wildwood Regional Park, it has 1.89 frequency. So that means people are coming to the site, are traveling far and wide for Wildwood Regional. So we know that people from LA come for Wildwood. So there's more people coming, but maybe these people are only coming once a year, once or twice a year if they're not local. Whereas our local neighborhood parks, there are people who are walking their dogs every single evening and they're walking through our parks. So that unique visits versus unique counts will shift in the visitor frequency.
That's good information. I was kind of wondering on your thing here of Conejo Creek Northwest, that's just dirt. And you have 13,000 people went there. What did they do there?
They're just
It's
walking
just
by,
parking, dog walking,
Dog walking.
dog walking,
Bike
Okay.
riding.
the local neighborhood.
biking through it? Okay.
Just cutting through it and
Yeah.
you're
They-
walking through it.
Yeah, people
The-
take it as a shortcut.
The placer algorithm does have like a pass-through logic is what they call it, and that is that they recognize roads, so they don't count or track noise or noise or phone activity going through roads, because Las Flores is a very busy road, but it'll only count people if you're spending time within the space, or if you're there for at least a couple minutes and you're in the boundary. But the boundaries that I gave them are pretty precise to our boundaries, and they don't include sidewalks in most cases, and especially not roads. So it does a good job at avoiding roads to avoid any like inflation of visitation numbers.
Okay. So it's definitely somebody is in that park for an amount of time before they're counted.
Right. We can adjust the filter to be someone who was stepped in there for at least a minute, someone who had to be there for over 10 minutes. So we can say we only want to know if people were here for at least 10 minutes, or count them if they just walked through for a moment. And that's completely up to us on how we filter that.
Okay, it's pretty cool. I was wondering also when I was looking at that, you have the Stagecoach Inn Park. Is that including the entire property, including the museum?
That's the entire property.
Okay. All righty. Yeah, I think you enjoy your job, don't you? You seem like you were having a lot of fun going through that.
Yeah, my background's in GIS geography, so I do a lot of like spatial data analytics. So this was just an extension of my GIS work, which is great.
Well, congratulations. I was very impressed, and I'm going to figure out how to see about that location on my phone.
Yeah,
Not that I'm trying to commit a crime or anything.
If-
That's really kind of terrifying.
yeah, if you have more
Technology
questions in the
does that.
future, you can always contact me, and
Okay.
because there's a lot in here.
Come into your dark room and
Yeah.
to see what you're doing behind
Yeah.
that computer screen.
Yeah, it's my
Okay.
notorious cave office.
All righty. Thank you.
Director Orozco.
Thank you. I don't think I have any specific questions. I think similarly to my fellow director, it's very overwhelming, like all of the data. What you guys have just come up with just in this presentation alone with regard to the sponsorships and specifically for Conejo Creek West, and seeing, excuse me, what the different areas of use are is all really impressive and creative. So looking forward to seeing how else this data is utilized. Like I said, I don't have any initial questions, and I'm sure, I'll think of questions and punt them to Jim. But yeah, congratulations on a really fun tool. I too
Yeah.
would be diving into all the data as well. So thank you for the information.
Director Bus.
Okay, I want to know if you can pull a specific day, right? Can you do one day in a location? Okay, so I want to know how many people were at the chili cook-off. Why am I ruining it? Why can't I have a little fun too?
The upcoming meeting will be covering that.
Oh, really? Oh, I love it.
Should I not spoil it or?
Well, because I was gonna ask you, I was like, oh, do they do events? But oh, obviously you did concerts in the park. Duh, you could do
Yeah.
kickoff. But they don't like have where they track events. You have to just do the geocode and then you do it for that, or the geofence, and then you do it for that day for those hours of the events, right?
That's correct. Since we already have Conejo Creek North
Yeah.
in here, I could open up Conejo Creek North.
I was like, and he can do it right now. Yeah, my numbers are, I have no idea, to be honest. I totally BS how many people I think are there. Let's just be honest. I think I tell the sponsors
would
like
you-
5,000.
Yeah, you may not want to know that.
I know, I might not want to know, and then I'll be like, oh man.
It was May 5th?
May 4th.
May 4th.
May the 4th be with you. That's why I remembered that. Sorry, a little bit of a Star Wars fan.
And just so you get an idea of what
Oh,
the,
Rotary has to pay for this now?
There you go. Good
as
plug,
as
Doug.
this loads, let me close some of these. This website is very data intensive and sometimes it takes a while.
Well,
But just to
the
give you an
server.
idea of what the geofence looks like, this is the data that I manage for the district, and this is the data I gave Placer.
yeah.
And this is the boundary. So it does include the driveway. It does not include the library or the
Teen center.
the teen center, the adult center.
Okay, cool.
So it's a driveway that leads you into the park, and then everything else within our boundary. So let's look.
So 300, what was it, 391 in a year? 321.
321 in the last 12 months.
Okay, so then
Let's
you
look at a
put in the
fig-
exact date. May 4.
25.
Oops. But just, oh, wait.
I don't know why. Hopefully I'm not lying on my sponsorship package. We're gonna find out right now.
Oh, wow.
I know. Oh, wow, that's way more
So-
than I say. I say 5,000.
That's the entire day.
Well, we're there from 7
I think-
a.m. to literally 7 p.m.
Yeah,
That's fun.
I'll just
I
scroll
guess
down
you
to
have
the,
to, yeah, you
scroll
have to
down
count
so
out
We can show you the hours.
5,000 was
the event.
director bus going back and forth during the day.
There you go.
so here, the peak 1 PM is at 7.8 thousand.
Still, I'm not lying. I'm
7.6
actually
thousand.
underselling. This is great.
Yeah. And,
Thank you. I will be
for an
updating
event
my
like that-
sponsorship package.
and it's important to have the entire day for an event like this because there is a lot of setup and takedown,
Oh, yeah.
which is like half the event.
Will you look at the 10 a.m. one? I always say there's like at least 1,000 people there.
There you
Yep,
go.
that's what I thought
1.6
before we
thousand
even
people.
open. Wow, see. Thank you. I appreciate it. Sorry, guys.
And then you'll
that
think of
commercial
questions like
break,
this in the middle of the night. You're gonna go home and you're gonna be in bed and then you're gonna think, how many people are at this park right now?
What about this? Can you look at this? Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Director Huffer.
I'm not going to ask you for 6 weekends in March, at least not here, but I might ask you later on because I help put on a big soccer tournament every year, and it'd be very useful information to know not just the numbers, but where they came from.
Mhm.
Because we have some general ideas, but I can see how this kind of information would be really valuable. When did Park District first subscribe to this program?
Um,
2 months? 2
it,
months?
it was was it July?
Yeah. Yeah, it took a while. So Louise had to do a lot of work to set up all the geo-fenced areas after we subscribed. And so we had to first establish all the geo-fenced areas, and you had 65 parks and 50 open space areas. We even did, just because we got really curious, like other things within the community, like, hey, how many people go to the Gardens of the World? how many people go to the Civic Arts Plaza? How many people, just so we have
How do we
a
rate?
sense of how we fit into the whole community fabric, and it's pretty, it's rad. It's fun.
Yeah,
It's-
well,
as
I
Melissa
can,
would say, it's
I can
rad.
see how it'd be a whole lot of fun, and there's a whole lot of information in there. But I guess one of my questions is, if we've only subscribed to this for a few months, but you're showing us data for all of 2024,
Mhm.
obviously somewhere out there in the cloud, all of this data is sitting out there for how many years or decades?
All the, I mean, this
I
data
mean,
is
we could go
owned.
back, you could go back 10 years and say Chili Cook-Off 10 years ago only had 3,000. This year they have 7,000.
Doesn't go back that far.
It's a 7-year look back.
7-year look back.
Yeah, yeah.
And, I'm a techie myself. I love computers and iPads and iPhones and all this good stuff. But as Nellie said, the first thing I'm going to do, in fact, I should probably do it right now, is turn off location services on my phone, because it's more than a little worrisome, if not scary, that they're coming up with income, your social background. We need Spanish signs in these parks because we know the people coming to these parks are Spanish speakers. There's a lot of demographics out there that somebody knows that can be tapped into for the right price. So it's,
And a lot of the
yeah,
data,
I mean, I guess I'm not surprised, I'm not shocked, but it certainly reinforces the idea that Big Brother has been out there for at least 7 years watching us. And knowing where I'm going after I leave the soccer fields, which I really don't necessarily want people to know. But stopping the donut
So-
truck, you know,
so
and bad
I-
thing.
I might interject. So like an example of this, I got to see a commercial ad execs, like a guy that sells he Condé Nast. And so they sell advertising for international, like they want to know everything about everybody they're talking to. And they have this computer based stuff, but they had like 168 different metrics that they measure everybody based on. So if you want a woman who's Asian that has 2 kids that just went to the YMCA and just, bought a pound of hamburger, they like, that's boom, you could send a Facebook post to everybody. Like, it's crazy how much we talk about Big Brother. This is anonymized. We don't know who any of these people are. We just know numbers. And they were careful about that with government because they know we have a higher sensitivity to like people's privacy. But basically, we do know anonymized numbers that are it's pretty amazing. But it's not what the private sector knows.
it's,
As I said, I like for running a tournament, I would love to know where are people coming to the tournament are coming from. And I guess you have all those demographics. We know how many 70-year-olds are out there cheering for their grandkids. And we know how many 20-somethings are out there cheering for their younger siblings. But yeah, I'm definitely turning off location services on my phone.
that's, they, yeah, it is a lot of information. And I know that they also use census data, so US Census data in combination with their algorithms. So a lot of census data has all of our information about our levels of income and, our ethnicity and where we live and how, we're broken down by census tracts. So I think it's a combination of US Census data, algorithms, phone data. It's like a mishmash of all of that, which to be fair, it can be a little scary, a little overwhelming.
So if you geofenced, say, some gathering area in some city, like, well, some capital city of some state, and there was some gathering, somebody up there is able to define a location and say, okay, we had this many people attending this event at that time.
That's right.
I'm not going to go any further with that.
On the screen, this is one of the first custom geofences we did because we were thinking about pickleball. And so within our park, I have a geofence for our entire park, Rancho Conejo playfields, but we wanted to see how many people are exactly within the pickleball courts, only within the pickleball courts. And that's almost 80,000 people, 80,000 visits, excuse me, 80,000 visits per year and 13.2 thousand visitors. So that's the unique visitors. So we have a pretty high visitor frequency because it's the same people coming back to play pickleball at the court. But we're only tracking them if they step foot within the court and not the parking lot and not the rest of the park. So you can do things like that where you're creating a fence on just one specific area, you know, just to understand if you want to know those metrics, how many people are coming into that space.
Anything else? I know, just like anything else, you can just get deeper and deeper, right?
Yeah, a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, I did have a couple of things, but more just I guess an observation. I remember years ago looking at my phone for traffic on my phone map app and thinking, wow, I didn't realize that Caltrans has these little traffic monitors in the freeway for every freeway in the state. And then I realized, oh, they don't. They're tracking phones.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized, oh, okay, everybody's using phones and this was years ago, you know, when they started doing that. So I know that's the case, which is why I keep my locations off on my phone. I was thinking of going back to a flip phone, but maybe no phone at all would be even better.
If you get abducted, no one will find you.
Well, that's true.
Okay?
It's,
There's the benefit.
yes.
Yeah, when you go down, Doug, no one's gonna find you.
Yeah. Just saying, if you want to be found fast, you want your location on.
But I was thinking as you were discussing this is
Oh, women.
since the data is based on cell phones, and if I don't have my location on, but Chuck does, we both go there, you're only tracking Chuck and not me, because mine is not giving a signal for that. The other thing I thought of was the people going to the soccer fields, a van full of 12 soccer players, but only the coach or parent has a phone that's driving.
Teenagers, in which case they
Well-
all have phones.
Yep. Yeah.
Right. I'm thinking, so here's this van full of 10 or 12 people, but you're only tracking one of them because only one of them has a cell phone. And then the other thing I thought I would like with this pickleball, somebody's going to leave their phone in their car and they're not going to take it to the court. So you're not getting perfectly accurate data, but you don't need the accurate data because what you're looking for is trends.
Right.
You're just wanting to know which park has more than anything else, or which, you know, is it going up or is it going down, or, you know, is it reaching certain thresholds? So you're still able to get the trends, the trend analysis, which is the more important part than whether it's, you know, 6.5 million or 6.75 million.
Right.
You know, it doesn't really make much difference. Go ahead, jump in.
Yeah, and in fact, we did ask a little bit when we were looking at buying it, like, how accurate is this? How reliable is the data? All that kind of stuff. And their algorithm accounts for exactly scenarios you talk about. How many people leave their phone at home? How many people, is it different if you go to a park versus a shopping center? All that stuff. So
Yeah.
their algorithm tries to account for it, but they did tell us that guarantee is plus or minus 10% on the data. So there's a plus or minus 10% in their contract, but what they tell us is that it's really plus or minus 4%. Like it's more accurate than they say
Right,
it is.
right.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but like I said, I just point that out because I know there's, you know, technology has its limits and of course, human behavior has its limits too. But the tool still works for its intended purpose, which is, like I said, the trends and analysis and things like that. And to give you guys something to do in your spare time, you know, when you, as if you had any spare time. But yeah, this is fascinating. And I know, you know, like I said, just a couple of questions that we've had up here, it's just questions beget questions. You know, you just want to dive deeper and deeper and deeper, and pretty soon you just get more and more data. And then it's like, wow, what do I do with all this information now? So that's why we have folks like you to, you know, get the important information. And I think it will be helpful, especially as we come to find what's accessible, what's available. It'll just generate more interest, and we'll be better able to make decision making, which is the important part. Yes, Director Cuthbert.
So I just had a quick question. perhaps obvious. If you have your location off on your phone, but you start talking on your phone, it would still trace it then, correct?
No, I
No?
don't think so. No, because location services, if you turn them off, they'll stay off.
Okay, so
Uh,
even if you are talking on your phone, or you're using your phone, you're texting on your phone, the location's off, no one would know.
Right. It's just certain apps that require location services, like for example, a delivery app or your maps, any sort of mapping, directional mapping app that will require your services to be on. But if you aren't using any of those that need it, then you're invisible.
Well, okay.
Oh, yes, Director Hufford.
I know that Rochelle and Melissa are always looking for additional sources of revenue. And I'm just wondering, no, not you, you're just looking at ways of spending more money. But is it even allowed under the license that Rotary or AYSO or some other group could request and purchase the data for their purposes, or is it restricted to CRPD?
Limited to
Okay.
us. Yeah, no, we can't.
And what you resell.
we can't use the data with other groups. Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Schulman, I see your hand up, but unfortunately, we can't take comments at this. This really isn't a discussion item. However, at the end of our meeting, we do have another items from the public. If you care to speak, then you're certainly welcome to, if you want to stay. Yes, no, I understand. You're a,
Tech side is
yeah,
coming out.
I can say you're a techie, you just can't wait. I know, I understand completely. But yeah, thank you both for the information. My head's hurting,
Yeah.
too much information, but thank you very much.
Yeah.
And we'll look forward to more, I'm sure, in the future. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, that takes us to item number 9. And if our clerk of the board, which if you could please announce that item for the record, please.
Yes, of course. Item 9A, purchase of construction tractor from Coastline Equipment in amount of $151,590.97.
Thank you. Director Mooney.
Thank you, Chair Nichols, members of the board. Recommendation tonight is to award the purchase of the construction tractor. The vehicle for doing this is via our Sourcewell contract. So like we've done for lighting, for design and construction services, as well as any other like heavy equipment specialty purchases in the past. We're looking to buy the construction tractor listed in the packet. This tractor would be replacing an existing, so it's replacing an existing asset that we have. We've had that asset for nearly over 12 years, time to replace it. And we are getting a trade-in credit for that tractor. So the net cost of the exchange is $151,590.97. This tractor is utilized for our refurbishments of our field. It is a general construction tractor, so we can use it to haul and move materials and such. But with our field refurbishments, that's the most that this would get used in, whether that's doing ball field grading. As you see in the packet, there is an attachment, so having more detailed grading on with this tractor to be able to utilize it better for our staff in the field. And it's really just about efficiency, making sure we have good tools and resources for our staff in the field to be able to provide great parks and great playing surfaces for all the activities and stuff we do in the parks with the community. So replacing current asset, there is a photo of it on page 33 of your packet if you wanted to check it out. So very nice looking tractor, nice John Deere. Typically, this would be stored at Borchard District Shop, so it would be on the west side of town, utilized over there. So but with that, I'm available for questions.
Thank you. Questions of Director Mooney? Yes, Director Best.
So is this like when you purchase a car and do you have to pay sales tax and all that on it?
Yep, we pay sales tax.
Do you have to register it?
So this is different where since it is a construction tractor, it's not driving on the roads. So it's a construction tractor, but
So you don't have to.
if any of our, like if we bought a like a dump truck or any of our utility trucks, we still we still have a license plate registration system. We're exempt from paying, but we still track it with the license plate and all that.
So where is the company, where's just Coastline Equipment located?
So I believe Coastline, I think they're in Oxnard.
Okay.
We might be utilizing like a regional center for the purchase, but I believe they do have an office and a yard in Oxnard.
So then we get the Ventura County sales tax? Or-
Yes, I believe so. Yep.
That's good. That's quite a savings on this. I never knew how much tractors were, and now I will know why I won't buy one. So, thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, Director Cuthbert.
So what was your last comment? Based on your questions, I was wondering if you were interested in a tractor? Are you going to be building an apartment building and, no? Well, I had a question. I still get comments of people asking me if I'm, continually to run, what was that, a skip loader they had me running in the, what was that digger?
Oh, the mini excavator.
Yeah, the mini
Yep.
excavator. I still have people come up to me saying, are you still doing the mini excavator for the, whatever, the truck? Are you still in construction at CRPD? So that was pretty fun. Is there going to be any opportunities for board members to maybe learn how to drive that truck on a limited basis, like just to lift the thing? Or is that something that we only do at groundbreakings?
Sure, yeah, like touch a truck or a groundbreaking or something like that, or if we do another board tour in the coming years, that we could set something up like that. And this is a little bit bigger than a mini excavator.
Is it?
Just a heads up.
Well, I think it's a pretty cool looking truck. So, yes, hooray.
Any other questions? I think Director Cuthbert feels like she's already past the apprentice level and is ready to the journeyman's level. All right, if there's no other questions, there is a recommendation from staff to award the purchase. If there's a motion, I'd like to hear it.
I'll make a motion.
Yes.
I would like to make a motion that we purchase the total, that we award the purchase in the total amount of $151,590.97 to Coastline Equipment for the 2025 John Deere 210 P-tier construction tractor. In the, with all the cool bells and whistles. Yeah.
Perfect. All right, do we have a second? All right, Director Huffer.
Oh,
Oh, go ahead.
I raised my hand. So I will second that motion, and just in a few, as a suggestion for future, you don't necessarily need to read every single detail in that, so.
And there are a lot of details in this one. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. On your way to a new tractor. All right. All right, brings us to item B. Madam Clerk.
Item 9B, amendment number 3 to contract with Royal Oaks Tree Service for tree services at various park facilities not to exceed $400,000.
Thank you. And Director Mooney.
Thank you, Chair Nichols, members of the board. If you remember, annually, we bring to the board 3 tree service contracts. This is one of those 3 service contracts. The amendment is strictly just to allow us to spend more money with this vendor. Typically, we're at 200,000 range the past 2 years with all 3 vendors. This vendor has been exceptional. We've been using them quite a bit. If you remember, we've had a fuel modification grant. We've also done some drainage and creek clearing work, and then we have our normal routine tree work, right? So whether we're maintaining trees or unfortunately lose trees, that's the time that we utilize the services of this contractor. Because this year was more front loaded with work in the fuel modification budget as well as some of the drainage budget, we've exceeded that 200,000. So coming back to the board to approve so we can continue to utilize this contract with these folks due to we're entering into winter. Hopefully we get a little bit more rain, but with that, we do have storms, wind, and so we have regular maintaining, but then also it's kind of storm damage. And as I mentioned, this contractor has been exceptional, very responsive, very available, very economical for us. And so the amendment strictly is just allowing us to spend more money with them up to 400,000 up until February of 2026. I'll come back to the board with all three or different vendors. Most likely we'll be bringing this vendor back, obviously, for that item, but no change of any budget, and we'll just use existing funds that the board has already approved for the amendment change. So, but with that, I'm available for questions.
Thank you. Questions? Yes, Director Buss.
Did Royal Oak Tree Service want to sponsor a summer concert? I was like, wow,
I
they're
can
getting a
put
lot
in
of
touch.
business from
Yeah,
us.
we do that with our different vendors, whether it's a manufacturer vendor or a contractor. We do put them in touch with the rec folks to
Good
say,
idea.
hey, we're
Hey.
good. We got a good relationship here. So yeah, we can definitely look into that.
And it looks like the increase is because of the grant we got, which is, so it's not really an overall budget increase because we have that grant paying for it. So it's not like next year it won't be the same because we don't have the fire hardening going on.
Correct.
Awesome.
Thank you. Other questions? If not, there is a staff recommendation to authorize the general manager. Is there anyone who's care to make that motion? Yes, Director Cussworth.
I'll make a motion that we authorize the general manager to execute amendment number 3 to contract with Royal Oak Tree Service in the amount not to exceed 400,000 annually.
I'll second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That passes. Okay, next we have item 10, reports and announcements. This is just information. We have several items in our packet. Were there any comments or questions for staff on any of those items? Okay, I see none, so we will move on to item 11, department reports, Parks Division.
No report, but I'm available for questions.
Any questions in general? Seeing none, thank you. We'll move on to recreation.
Thank you, Chair Nichols, members of the board. Just a busy weekend ahead, Haunted Trail, Street Fair, Reign of Terror is still going on. The lights on Reign of Terror is on Saturday between 12 and 3. So if you don't like the dark and things scaring you, that's a great time to go. I will be there. And registration is on Monday for the next program session. With that, available for questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, seeing that, we'll move on to management services.
I have no report, but I'm available for questions.
No financial questions. All right, thank you. We'll move on to general manager.
I'll try to keep it brief, taking perhaps some of the glory away from the chair, but I did want to mention that we had the governor signed a bunch of legislation. So one of the things he did sign was SB 499. And if you'll remember, that is the bill put forward by Senator Stern that CARPD was a sponsor for, that allows for parks to be sort of treated better than they were under the then existing law if our parks also serve as an emergency sort of facility under a safety element or local hazard mitigation plan. So that got signed, which is really great because our parks are used for that, and we got to make sure they're identified that way. It just allows us to get the fees from the developer in a manner that we currently get them from, that is being eroded by all the new laws that are kind of a little bit of an attack on impact fees to support housing. Speaking of housing, staff is commenting through the staff level department input process on an approximately 150 unit subdivision behind Kohl's, that vacant lot. Because it is a subdivision, our comments suggest that it's a parcel over 10 acres and a subdivision of more than 50 units. Therefore, they would be obligated to provide land for a future park site. And hopefully they will be receptive to that comment, but we will see. The city put on its agenda the Jantz Road and the near Linmere, they're wanting to dispose of that grassy area that a lot of folks think is a park but is not yet a park, and they're going through the Surplus Property Act and provisions because they just want to give it over to us. So we remember we stopped there with the tour the other last year, I think, or earlier this year. we're meeting with reps from the Family Justice Center. They want to come and talk about whether there might be something we can work together with them on. And so we're interested in seeing what we might be able to do with them. That's kind of exciting. That's next week. And in the future, there should be a special Casca board meeting at the end of October to deal with, just kind of revisit the Casca's practices, which are a lot better than most places in terms of brush clearance and fire preparedness. So with that, I'm available for questions.
Any questions of the general manager? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to director's reports. Director Huffer?
Well, I don't really have a whole lot to report because I spent most of the last couple of weeks checking out the beaches of Hawaii. And since that doesn't have much application in our park district, there's nothing to report.
Very well, thank you. Director Buss?
We had a Conejo Coalition Youth and Family meeting, and we're talking about updating the agreement and maybe trying to figure out if we need more consistent funding or what have you. So that might be something that we discuss at some point. So soccer, AYSO, we have moved into the tournament round now of the season. They're starting early. It's a whole new thing. So right now I'm ranked 5th for my 12U team. Just want to let you know. But this was last year too. And then I ended up winning 2nd and then went to areas and won 3rd. So don't count me out yet, okay? I'm really feeling good about the team. So 16U, okay, this is a team I have 6 players who've never played. So currently we are in last, but there's this one ringer team, Newberry Park, very annoying. But they have phenomenal players. So we are also starting our tournament ranking, and we have Westlake Agora this week. We have beat them. We have lost them. I think we're going to beat them. And Moore Park, we just keep tying them 0-0. I mean, it's very frustrating. I'm not going to lie. I hate a game where there's no scores. So just letting you know. And then this Saturday, if you'd like to come out, I will be at the Equestrian Park. The ETI 37 is having a horse show, and one of my favorite little girls will be riding in it. And I told her today, she either has to slow down on her barrels or speed up because she pushed herself out of her division for her time to go against the college or like the older kids. And so I'm like, it's more strategic than I realized because this is not the way it works in English at all. So it's really interesting, but she was ranking 1st through 3rd on everything else. So I'll update you on that, how she does next meeting. She wins 1st in the A or AA division. Fascinating.
I'm tired of these verbal reports. I think we need some video reports.
Seriously, I should make you a presentation
Yes,
and
I
show
think
you the
that-
barrel
yes.
racing and the single stake.
I just imagining this doesn't count. I need to see real.
It's
see
true.
real.
It's hard to video soccer though, I'm not gonna lie, because that's a long video for like something very small and cool.
I remember that. Yes,
Yep.
thank you. Director Roscoe?
Oh, great. Let me see. I think since last meeting, there were a couple community events that I've attended. I went to the Conejo Schools Foundation event, their annual fundraiser, which was really lovely. I had never been to a dueling piano event before, so that was fun.
That's fun.
If I recall, I do believe that Jim's song was played. One of his recommendations was the Little Mermaid theme song, so that was great. I did go this weekend to the new farmers market in Newbury Park, which was fun and lovely. So if you're in the area, go check it out. I also went to the same weekend as the Conejo Schools Foundation was charity karaoke, which was it's always very spirited and people are so creative. Shout out to the Bus family for just putting it out there. Appreciate Nelson and his crew. And then this past weekend was Bowls of Hope for Many Mansions. I had the privilege of being one of the soup servers at their event. And so that was my 2nd year going. And it was at a new location, and I'm spacing on the where it was hosted. I'll have to get back to you guys on that one. But yeah, it was a great event.
Very good, thank you. Director Cuthbert?
I couldn't remember anything I did. And then I started to remember a little bit. So I went to Plantapalooza over in the park.
Mhm.
So that was very well attended. I was at the dueling pianos, and I do want to say that at our table, Harvey and I outlasted everybody else at our table that was much younger. So that was also fun. I'm on the Botanic Garden Board of Directors, and so we had our volunteer thank you dinner. So I went to that and helped put that on. And then the Stagecoach Inn, they did Voices of Old Conejo, but it's not really voices anymore. It was more of like a huge comedy show. And it was so successful that I'm going to assume that that will continue being a huge comedy show. And the fellow who's directing it now, that very much suits his personality. So I'll keep you in line. They had more attendance than they've ever had, and people were just like almost falling off their chairs laughing. So I like more drama, but I did enjoy it. So yes, and I think if they're going to attract more people, then all the better. And there was some history in there, so it was fun.
Very good, thank you. As far as my activities, on October 7th, had a California Association Rec and Park District Conference Committee meeting, setting up our next conference coming up in May of next year. It'll be in Monterey, by the way. And we may have a golf tournament if there's any golfers. We're trying to get that together. And then I did stop by Plantapalooza last Saturday in between soccer games. I left one crowded parking lot to go to the other crowded parking lot and then come back to another crowded parking lot. Hopefully with plants in tow, but there was no milkweed, so I didn't get anything. But anyhow, that was nice to see that whole activities going on over there. And then this Saturday, we're going to take the whole family to see the haunted trail. It's always fun to see the creativity that the staff puts together for that. I've yet to see any of them that are haunted, though. They're just all kind of entertaining, just because they really target the younger kids. Speaking of younger kids, I'll give my own little soccer update. Just the reason I mentioned this is I mentioned it to Chuck, is our little 4-year-old is trying soccer for the first time. And you know, when they get that little bumblebee soccer where they just kind of follow the ball around. Well, they've done it a little different this year. I think, is this the first year they're doing it with UK soccer?
No, they've had it several years.
Several years? Okay. Well, this is my first experience, you know, of doing it. And it's fun to watch them. They actually do a great job of controlling, 25 4-year-olds. I thought, this is a miracle. But they do a pretty good job. And they're doing things like using colors and yellow lights, red lights, and green lights, and freeze. And the kids pick it up just like this, you know, as far as doing these different skills. And then when they play their soccer game, he has about 3 balls with him, and he just throws the ball, okay, go. And so they have, one against the other. And as soon as the ball goes out of play, he says, okay, freeze. Everybody freeze. They look, he says, okay, new ball. He throws in the other direction. So it keeps them from bunching up because the ball is always going a different location. So it does a good job, and I think the kids really picking up. So pass that along to your comrades. I think it's a good program.
It helps that you also have parents and occasionally grandparents out there interacting.
Yes, it is one-to-one parent with soccer players. So there is little.
I haven't noticed you out there.
I'm on the sidelines.
I know you're on the sidelines,
I'm-
but I haven't seen you on the field.
No, I'm coaching the coach.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
We love that.
I'm now
We
in.
love that. Let me talk to my husband.
I'm
He
in.
knows how much I love that.
I'm in an advisory capacity now. Okay, thank you again, thanks for all that.
My husband will.
Okay,
Yeah.
next, that's item 11. Item number 12, requests for status reports and items for subsequent agendas. Do we have any items from the board? I do have one request. I was thinking about this, actually made a request to Director Mooney a couple weeks ago, I think. But I was also reminded when I saw this little visual here that we had on the Placer AI with the multiple dots and colors at Conejo Creek West and showing how that facility is being used. And one thing that came to my attention as I attended the very first meeting that we had there with the community, which was greatly attended, and Director Mooney did a great job emceeing that presentation, was that, obviously there's a lot of passion for the equestrians of that facility. They've been using it for at least for the 4 decades that I've been here. And I think a little bit before that. And there's other interests in how that property might be used, and not always do they see eye to eye. And I know that'll be a bit of a challenge for the community as well as us. But I was bringing up some questions with Director Mooney. Says we now find ourselves in possession of 3 separate equestrian facilities and serving in three different areas and kind of 3 different purposes. And so my question was, is there some crossover of how these equestrian facilities could be used, or could we maybe combine some uses? And do we need 3 facilities in the current configuration that they are? I don't know if we do or not. I just kind of just throwing it out there. So what I thought would be helpful to me as a decision maker and looking at this placer AEI for the Conejo Creek West, knowing that we're getting community input from future uses, and then seeing the interaction at that community meeting, is to incorporate along with the community input is have a presentation here to the board on these 3 different equestrian facilities, what they are, who's using it, how it's being used. Could there be improved uses? Is it a matter of facility limitations as far as do improvements need to be made? Should we move certain activities to other locations? I think it'd be a good process to go through and have that information available to us as we continue with our efforts to assess Conejo Creek West. So that would be my request if we could do that. And I know I had some pretty good responses from Director Mooney, and he's up to speed with that. So if that makes sense, I think that would be very helpful.
Just to clarify, so typically Ride On, who operates 2 of those facilities, as well as ETI, who operates the Conejo Creek West, do a special presentation every 2, like Ride On's typically annually, but are you saying that you would like one night where we do a dual like equestrian presentation from our nonprofits as well as staff providing information? Is that your request? I just want to confirm.
I know in the past where we've had presentations, it's kind of like a year in review of what they've done and maybe what they hope to be doing, but that's only focusing on their facility. And what I'm curious to know is there something happening in one facility that could or should be happening at the other facility, or vice versa? Or do they have to remain in their existing configuration as they are now in order to serve that intended purpose? And if so, why? And so it's kind of like an assessment of each of those 3 facilities. And I don't know that any one of those groups could do that.
Okay. Yeah, and it would be layered with myself and my staff too.
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Now, if that were a combination, I'll leave that up to you. I mean, you
Sure.
know more about how that would come out.
Sure.
But I just think as far as getting that, like that full overview, rather than just getting little bits and pieces, to see all of it at once would be very helpful. Yeah, Director Cuthbert.
Who owns the horse facility that's on the backside of Wildwood? I think it's Santa Rosa Road.
The county.
It's a county
As
facility.
you go into Hill Canyon,
Yeah.
yeah, that's county operated and owned property.
What do they do over there?
I believe I haven't been out there in a while, but I believe they have like a live-in caretaker that oversees it, but then they do equestrian stuff there too, whether they're doing groups and things, I don't know. But
Okay.
but then also it's a trailhead for hiking and multi-use trails for horses too. So
Okay, thank you.
And just as an add-on to that, Director Huffer knows this as well. Costco pays an annual fee to the county to allow Costco users to park there to access the trails. So there's a cooperative arrangement between the 2 agencies for that. So that's part of the use, is just Costco people parking. Okay. Next is items for the public. Mr. Schulman, I just wanted to offer you, you were raising your hand earlier, and now is another time. If you wanted to speak to the board, you're welcome to do so. Yes, please. because we record this, so we just want to make sure the microphone is on.
Thank you so much. Regarding the place applications, so I was trying to ask them if they collect international data in terms of like how prepared we are for 2028 Olympics. Are we expecting a lot of tourists coming? How valuable we are to this whole California? Are we unique to in something that besides the Garden of the World, nice trails? Lizard hikes, whatever. What can we offer to the international tourists that coming to LA, they're visiting probably Santa Barbara? Why don't you stop in Thousand Oaks for a couple hours and see our beautiful gardens, and see something? Are we preparing for this Olympics? It's only short 2 weeks, but I'm sure people want to see some Olympics, and as well taking about a week or two to browse around in California. So either going north to probably San Francisco, Santa Barbara, go San Diego, and with the best intersection over here just to visit Thousand Oaks for something unique. If we using this data for international, or we're preparing for something we can offer for the Olympic time. That was
Yeah,
my question.
Good question.
Yeah.
We'll have to check with them when
I
we
mean,
see them. Yeah,
Got to stand up with something.
Yes. All right, thank you. Yes. Absolutely. All right, thank you very much. Okay, is there anybody online waiting to speak to the board? Okay, all right. So that takes us to executive closed session. Our general manager, if you could please read that for
Yes,
us.
thank you. Listed are 2 executive closed sessions. We really only have the need for one. A, conference with real property negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8. It is not a secret. It's been in the paper. We're talking about Fireworks Hill, where we are currently located, owned by the city of Thousand Oaks. There's about 8 or 9 parcels that make up Fireworks Hill, and we're going to be discussing price and terms regarding a potential transaction involving this property, and no announcement is expected.
Okay. And with that, I will, oh, yes, Director Huffer?
Just before we adjourn, I wanted to ask Raquel, there are no changes to what we got 2 weeks ago, the list of various meetings and activities and so on?
I will double check on that for you and update it for the next meeting.
Okay.
But as far as I'm aware, no.
Anything else? All right. And with that, we will adjourn to our closed session.